camera on city cameras and videos all the way through the county and out the northeast side of the county with only one or two trees down, with one lightning strike starting a fire. And so the videos of the actual on ground were in open fields where people had, already started planting crops. We're fortunate, man. We are very fortunate. God had his hand over us.
For sure. That is, do we have the video, Jess? Oh, Billy, if you don't mind, if you could send us whatever you have. The video especially. We have seen that video. Sometimes in the world we have to operate in, we have to have verification of a video. Occasionally you'll have folks that'll pump in a video 5 years old and say, oh, this is Cordele, Georgia, so we don't really know. But if we got it from you, we would know that it was legit. If you could send that to us.
I have several of them. We'll sit down here in just a minute and get them to you.
Okay.
Some of them are spectacular.
I bet they are. I cannot believe that really outside of a tree or so down, no damage, no injuries.
None whatsoever. It's just, it was great, for us to be protected like we were. It was scary.
I'm sure.
You felt like if you raised your hand in the air, you could have touched the bottom of it as it went over.
Oh, wow. Billy, if you got something to write down, it's just email it to news@13wmaz.com. And that way it'll come straight in.
13wmaz.com.
News at 13wmaz. Yeah. Okay. Billy, listen, I know you guys got your hands full with the fire and all that stuff down there too, but thanks so much. Most of this stuff for you is calming down and moving through, and we're hoping this is going to be a trend for everybody tonight. But thanks for checking in, and we may check back in with you a little later.
We'll be here. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, Billy. Billy Hancock in Crisp County down there where the Cordele or the tornado situation was rough earlier, Alex.
Yeah, Ben, I want to check in. We're going to show some pictures here in a second. Before we do that, I want to show you what's going on in Hancock County right now because we're watching this. It's very broad, but this is co-located with a notch in the storm. This would be to the north of Sparta. A severe thunderstorm warning in effect for northern Hancock County to the north of Sparta. This would be the Shoulder Bone area, Culverton up towards Powelton. Riding right along Georgia 15, 22 in that area. In fact, that latest sweep came in and it didn't look as good. All right, well, let's check out some of the pictures.
That's a good thing.
Yes, exactly. Here we have some pictures from Warner Robins. Hail video. Let's check out the hail video from Warner Robins. This would have been about an hour or so ago, hour and 15, hour 20. This is the Warner Robins area. You can see hail coming down. If you see this outside, certainly not an area where you'd want to be outside in this situation. I assume this person's undercover, but that is hail video out of Warner Robins. And I'm sure Warner Robins is not the only spot that saw a lot of hail because as we've been showing the hail map, it has been very bright in some instances.
Oh, but now it still is. Flip over to Jones-Jasper line.
Yeah, okay.
So that's an inch to an inch and a quarter, inch and a half maybe in diameter.
So here's Lake Juliet right here. This is just to the north of it. That is Jones and Jasper. This is headed towards George 11. And like Ben and I have been talking about, this is old data. So this would have been 5-10 minutes ago. So this is probably right over to the south of the Hillsborough community right now to the north of Round Oak. Let me flip this over to the radar and we can see just that. If I turn off this lightning here, some of the higher reflectivity values right in here, and this is pushing to the east too. So if you are in Putnam County, south of Stanfordville, this is headed in your general direction. But Ben, the good news is the hail size in this is not quite as expansive as it was in Warner Robins earlier. And we are, that's a new tornado watch for northwest Georgia. So quick lay of the land. We are about to lose a lot of warnings here at 5 o'clock. They are expiring Bibb. We will lose Twiggs and Wilkinson. And how about this? We just check in after 5 o'clock because we are coming up on 5, I believe. Are we starting 13 WMAZ News at 5?
I believe we are. This coverage has been going on a long time, and now we welcome Frank Malloy and Lori Johnson to the party for our 5 o'clock show. Let us regroup.
Yes.
Guy, thanks very much. We certainly appreciate it, Ben and Alex, as we continue to go through another day, fortunately, much quieter than yesterday, although some areas have seen some interesting stuff going on right now. You just heard from Billy Hancock in Crisp County talking about the fact that they had those tornadoes on the ground, but did not appear to do much damage, mainly a couple of trees down, and that is
which is
amazing.
Truly amazing, because we saw the video, we saw the pictures that Alex and Ben were showing us, and that just touched down in open fields, truly a blessing. I believe we also have some other videos sent in, possibly out of Warner Robins, some hail video. We've been talking a lot about hail this afternoon, and I don't know if we have that video, if we can show that. Don't think we might have that right now. There we go. Okay. So this is video sent in from Chuck Shaheen of Hale and Warner Robins. Looks like they are on their back porch here, and you can, if you listen, you can hear it hit. You can see the little white balls. So, you know, just some of that storm damage in the Houston County area.
All right, now in other news, we were covering yesterday, we saw a possible tornado touchdown in Houston County, and we did receive confirmation today that obviously that was the case. I believe we have some sound about that right now.
Obviously, the intensity of the storm varied along the path, and we're trying to figure out the path, first of all. It was a tornado, and so we're looking at some of the damage in here. We're going to look at some of the damage on Hawkinsville Road and some of the areas in between here and there, and try and come up with a wind estimate of what this tornado was.
As you just heard, the National Weather Service has confirmed a tornado that went through Houston County Tuesday afternoon.
Now, they say the path went through just south of Robins Air Force Base in the Statham Landing subdivision. National Weather Service crews conducted limited surveys this morning because more surveys are expected tomorrow once all of this bad weather passes.
Yeah, Houston County neighborhood woke up to a lot of storm damage. Now they have to clean up the mess. Molly Jett went to Warner Robins to see how people are teaming up to get the job done.
I think the Lord took care of us this time because we have 3 houses here. My 2 neighbors on each side in my house, the house itself was not damaged at all.
Richard Gore lives in Statham's Landing in Warner Robins. He was home Tuesday when the storm hit. This morning, he woke up to the sights and sounds of cleanup crews, including roofers and contractors. Just before 11, the American Red Cross arrived. It is something Andrew Wilson said he has never experienced before. He's just grateful to see everybody out helping one another.
It was like out of a horror movie. You come out here, everything's destroyed, but at the same time, it's kind of amazing. Like, everyone, like, as soon as they know they're all right and nothing is completely destroyed in their houses, they're all coming out here and making sure everybody else is okay.
Teamwork down there. Houston County MA Director Chris Stoner said there were no injuries. He said they also shut off and isolated all gas leaks in that particular Houston County neighborhood.
Today, Governor Kemp declared a state of emergency for Georgia in anticipation of the storms that we're seeing now. This is aerial footage of Bryan County, where County Coroner Bill Cox confirmed at least 1 person died in Pembroke as a result of Tuesday's storm. Today, the governor toured Bryan County and talked with folks.
You know, this storm, from what we're seeing and now learning, is what we fear the most. It was a pop-up, devastating tornado. The only good thing that happened last night is it didn't stay on the ground. It went up and down, bouncing, if you will. So we're blessed that it wasn't a prolonged on-the-ground event. But where it did hit, it is complete devastation.
Now, Matthew Kent, a county government spokesperson, said several other people were also hurt in the county 30 miles west of Savannah.
All right, of course, power outages. There were some yesterday. There are some today. Let's check on what's happening right now.
Kalisha Moore joins us in studio to walk us through what we're seeing right now.
That's right. One of the things that these storms really do affect is going to be people's power and electricity. Over here, I have a current map that's showing folks around the county and surrounding counties in central Georgia what your power outages are looking like. Now, on this map right here, this is with Georgia Power, and what you can see on your screen is currently some yellow and some green. That means that the power outages around these areas are only hitting to about 5,000 customers being affected. When we click here over in Macon, we can see only 1,319 people have been affected out of a little over 70,000 customers that we have. When we go over here to Gray and Milledgeville, we can see that they're still sitting in the green right now. Zooming a little bit closer, you can see not a lot of those areas are effective. We do have another map to show you guys, and this is with Flint Energy, and they're still sitting at about the same. This is current as of 4:55 p.m. and you can see here on this chart that there are only 173 people affected right now out of a little less than 100,000 customers, which is still pretty good for the weather that we've been having. You can see that it comes through the Fort Valley and the Byron, Warner Robins, Butler, all of those surrounding areas. And we also do still have this map for Tri-County, and that is also current as of a little bit before 5 p.m. Those customers are only seeing about 1 being affected on this map, not so many. But Frank and Lori, I'll have more updates for you guys as we go through the show.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kalisha. That is encouraging news. We've seen the crews have been out all day trying to restore that power.
Yeah, saw some crews from Jacksonville in here in town earlier too. Time to check back in now with Ben Jones and Alex Forbes for the very latest on what's happening out there currently.
Yeah, good news, guys. I mean, we dropped those warnings off that went until 5 o'clock. Those are gone. These will go until, what are they, 5:30, maybe something like that with these, Alex?
Yeah.
Something like that. So this is for Jasper, Putnam, Northern Jones, and I know it's just a mess. I mean, there's just thousands of lightning strikes going on. Hancock County with that one. That'll be leaving Hancock in just a little bit. And again, I've been scouring around looking because the main thing everybody's looking for, are we seeing tornadoes with this? I do not see any tornadoes in any of this stuff right here. It doesn't mean that we couldn't see a brief spin up in a couple of spots, but every time I go around the horn looking at velocity mode, I don't see anything other than some gusty winds. We are seeing pockets of hail. And then definitely the lightning is probably one of the biggest threats. You just don't need to be outside or close to a window. A lot of these are cloud to ground strikes that we're seeing. So just smart, keeping it smart out there. Now there's a gap in between where this stuff has been pouring and then what we saw down here in Crisp County that was sort of untouched. That is starting to try to fill in a little bit. We may get our Perry Skycam, Alex, to look toward the south and west and see if we can take a look at this. All indications are that these are going to be garden variety thunderstorms. If there's anything that, of course, that starts to spin, we'll let you know. We do have the tornado watch up in this big red box for all of our area until 10 o'clock tonight. And again, the hope of all this is we will work this atmosphere over, and maybe that will help decrease some of the intensity of the storms if we see anything later tonight. What do you mean later tonight, weatherman? Well, the cold front is back here. There's a new tornado watch up here in northern Alabama, northwest Georgia, Tennessee. The cold front right here, until that gets all the way through here, we're not totally in the clear. And that's overnight tonight into early tomorrow morning before that will come all the way through. So you can see these thunderstorms and notice how we're not seeing any warnings. It's a severe thunderstorm watch back in Alabama. That's a good sign so far. And we only have the 2 here. And then as you go down on the Georgia-Florida line, we're seeing a couple there. And then I believe there's one in two in South Carolina. So for the most part, it's definitely much different than what we saw yesterday. What you seeing on that Skycam over there, Alex?
Ben, this is looking to the south and to the west now from the Georgia National Fairgrounds. So this is looking down into Dooley County. Nothing that's really jumping out at me. Obviously some darkening in the clouds here, which means the rain starts right about there or so where it starts to lighten up. But as we were looking on the radar just a few seconds ago, some lightning strikes in the area. Maybe it's trying to get its act together in the terms of strengthening, not necessarily into a tornadic storm, but a severe thunderstorm. And I just want to point out, I just queried lightning over the whole area, all of central Georgia. Over the past 10 minutes, we've seen over 3,500 lightning strikes, which, Ben, that is a notable jump from what we had maybe an hour ago. If I do this again.
Well, most of it's definitely in that big cluster right in the middle.
So that inside that box, that's 2,500 strikes right there. And that is a lot of lightning. I heard from Connor a few minutes ago, a lot of lightning Zebulon, that Zebulon Road area, obviously all across central Georgia from Columbus to Macon. It's just like a giant shield of lightning right now. And then that extends up towards Milledgeville. Obviously, all of this not happening at once. You can see the individual flashes coming in, but certainly a loud afternoon in this area. And then continuing to watch these down to the south. This was the tornadic storm over Crisp County. That's now moving into southern Dodge. No warnings on that right now, not reason to be concerned, and that's the lay of the land right now. But really quickly, I did want to show you, we are all in a tornado watch until 10 p.m. tonight. These are the counties, so every county until 10 p.m. And I don't think we're going to see anything trimmed back necessarily soon, because if you look at the radar, what we're seeing is a giant glob of storms, and the front is still, as Ben was just showing you, it's still back out here into Alabama. So all of this in this general area is fair game. And when we look at the radars, we typically see it in a circle because we're looking from one radar site. This is the whole thing. So we've got more storms back into Montgomery now that are moving it generally in the eastern direction. So this isn't it. And we're going to be looking at some more through the overnight hours as this moves east-southeast, and then hopefully we will get that to settle down. But Ben has also been talking about for a while now, hoping to get some of these storms to lessen in intensity as we head into the overnight hours, basically work over our atmosphere. I'm looking up to the north now, and it's notable, Ben, that we're starting to see these storms form in northern Georgia. because essentially what that's telling us is that this barrier of storms right here, or I shouldn't use the word barrier, it's actually not a barrier, because we're starting to see these develop now north of them. A lot of lightning there between Bartow and Cherokee counties. That's in the Canton area, and then over just across the Alabama state line. So I thought that was really interesting that we're seeing these develop despite.
It may be pulling that from the southwest, getting pulled in between those gaps in the storms. Yeah,
it could be coming. The energy could be coming this way, there.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And if you look over here on Max 2 here, I just want to show you some of the numbers. You can see the rain-cooled air. We want to get these numbers down. Of course, sunset eventually will do it, but that's still a long way off, a few hours away. But once we can work this over, we have more cloud cover out there now. Hopefully that will lessen this down. And we've already seen that with respect to many features with this. We don't have as many warnings as the original powder keg, and the hail, for the most part, is gone, except with these where they have just been starting to develop. So where you're seeing new storms, that's where you're seeing a hail core that's maybe putting down close to 1 inch in diameter with some of these. So everybody else where it has been working the atmosphere over, we have seen that really kind of fall apart out there. So again, been scanning around, been looking. I can show you just quickly for yourself. You can look at velocity mode, and we don't see anything rotating out there. So once again, guys, I'm going to toss it back over to you. As we look at this, we are not seeing any tornadoes or anything like that right now. We're still keeping our eye out for it, though there is nothing remotely close to that right now, guys.
Yeah, that is indeed good news. And as Alex said, it's very loud out there.
It is very loud, but compared to yesterday, it's a totally different situation, a different setup, just like they mentioned. So, but you can, when you walked outside this afternoon, you could feel the mugginess.
That was nuts.
Yeah, you could feel that something was a brewing.
Mm-hmm. We're going to go checking out some of the pictures and videos you've been sending us today safely. This looks like heavy wind and rain at Calvary Chapel Heartland. That's in Fort Valley. Off Highway 96, a grand pecan tree was downed by the wind. Now that's a tornado by Cordele, Georgia. That's the one they've been talking about, and Sheriff Hancock was talking about. But unfortunately, no real damage, but that was near the Dollar General. Zeke Best sent that in. Thank you, Zeke.
Okay, so this was taken crossing the bridge at Lake Blackshear. This photo was taken by Joel Bernard, and you can see that just ominously looking cloud. So thank you so much, Joel, for sending that in. Hail, look at this. Hailing in Warner Robins. This is off of Lake Joy Road. Look, those are some pretty big stones there. Some more from Lake Joy Road, that area we were talking about where the hail was coming down.
And that's in Cordele again, the tornado that definitely was on the ground in Cordele. But as Sheriff Hancock said, maybe just a couple of trees toppled, which is pretty amazing when you look at that. And of course, we want to take a moment to remind you to send us photos and videos only when you can do it safely. That means after everything passes through. You can text those damaged photos to us or just some video, weather photos, to 478-752-1309 or upload them to the Near Me feature on our app. Well, Bibb County Schools say Rosa Taylor Elementary should be back to normal tomorrow. Faculty and staff could not report today due to storm damage in that neighborhood. The school was without power. Homeowners in the surrounding area were cleaning up the damage from Tuesday's storm.
Worst natural disaster that I've seen personally ever.
Stephanie Hartley with the Bibb County School District says they expect classes at Rosa Taylor to resume with normal operations tomorrow.
Now, the storm unleashed its rage up and down Wimbish Road in Macon, and one church took a big hit. We're going to show you what North Minster Presbyterian looked like Tuesday morning at sunrise. Beautiful picture. After that, the punishing winds and rains finished their wrath. This, was what was left behind. Crane crews moved in to remove the steeple that first went up in 1980. They took it off the roof and then gently lowered it onto the ground. Pastor Ralph Hawkins hunkered down in the hallway when everything unfolded yesterday.
It was only later, once things calmed down, I started hearing water inside the building and began to investigate and realized that we had 2 gaping holes in the roof and, of course, a tower open to the sky, which prompted me to say, what happened to our steeple?
Okay, so of course we're going to hear much more about that steeple coming down. Frank, I mean, that was just some really incredible video that we saw of the steeple. It was just so beautiful in the morning, and then bam! Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we have a lot of online elements to that steeple story, including a time lapse of the steeple coming down off the roof.
And if you don't already have it, download the 13WMAZ mobile app. You can get it in the Google Play or Apple Store, or you can quickly scan the QR code on screen. Once you get to the app, be sure to sign up for notifications. You'll get the latest weather and news alerts sent straight to your phone. And we're going to be right back.
All right, ongoing continuing coverage for the second day in a row of severe weather. Yesterday, a linear system that came across with some rotating cells in there that had some tornado touchdowns off and on. The only thing with that T-word that we have seen, tornado, was down in Crisp County. And we talked to Billy Hancock, Emergency Management Director down there, and they barely any damage down there. A couple of trees down, that's about it, which is amazing because they had a tornado warning and we saw a debris signature down there. Everything else that we've been seeing has been severe thunderstorm warnings like the two we have here, Jasper, Putnam, and then as you get into Hancock, leaving away. All of this, including these two, I don't see anything rotating in any of that. So that is the big takeaway for now, is that's the case. Now we still have to get this front through here later on tonight, which is not close. It is still way back in Alabama. So right along through here is where the cold front is. And I know if you're looking at this going, man, that's going to take a while. Yeah, it is. It'll be overnight tonight into the early morning hours before that finally comes on through. And then the question is, and Alex and I were just talking about it in the commercial break, is are we going to still see anything along that? I want to show you here just for a second, just two quick model takes. This is the high-res model. Keep in mind this one usually is a little bit more kind of in your face with the color table. So this one kind of shows you still going 7, 8 o'clock tonight, off and on. And then you can see top left of your screen, here comes the front. This is midnight tonight. You know, will we see thunderstorms still along that front, or is that just rain? How is that going to go as it comes through? It's 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Now, if you look at the graph model, it shows a different kind of scenario. It shows what we have now, trailing on off toward the south and east. Atmosphere is washed over. We lose the heat of the day. We're into the overnight hours and just a quiet passage of the front. So we don't really know exactly which scenario is going to take place, but we're trying to figure that out as we can continue to go on through. But again, good news out there that just the 2 severe thunderstorm warnings, we've seen a lot of lightning and continue, and that's going to continue, and some hail in pockets as well. So just a loud afternoon for right now, and we're hoping it stays that way. But once again, there's a tornado watch until 10, but I don't see anything rotating, guys. So that is really good news.
That is the best news. Still waiting for the cold front. Thank you,
yes.
Ben.
Well, the storms from yesterday are gone. Others rolling through right now. But of course, yesterday's storms left damage for homeowners to deal with in Houston County. Several homes, missing roofs, broken windows, extensive damage. Now homeowners are cleaning it all up, getting insurers involved, and finding help.
Kelvin Collins with the Bear Business Bureau advises people to beware of scams.
This opens up a lot of opportunities for out-of-state contractors to come in and just make a quick buck. And there's too many reputable contractors in the Middle Georgia area to be farming your work out.
Homeowners should keep track of their receipts when they pay contractors and ask for help if they need it from agencies like FEMA or the Red Cross. And coming up a little later, we'll have more on how you can avoid getting cleaned out while you're cleaning up. And stay with us. This extended edition of 13 WMAZ News at 5 continues right after this. Continuing coverage of severe weather across Georgia. Of course, severe weather can mean power outages.
That's right. Kalisha Moore joins us in studio to walk us through what we're seeing now.
That's exactly what it means, Frank. Now, I am still over here at this interactive map, and good news, we're still in the green and in the yellow, which means customers affected are still under 5,000. Now, I'm looking at the current Macon and Bibb County map. I'm going to move in, zoom in a little bit closer, show you some areas that are really affected. When I zoom in here, you can see it's near Amerson River Park and Ingleside Baptist Church. Now, when I click over here, it tells me that there are about little less than 300 customers affected. They're saying extreme weather has caused those widespread outages. When I move over here a little bit more to the left, we can see it says it's about 214 with those. Over here in the blue near the Ingleside Baptist Church, spikes way up just under 800 at 745, and that's per Georgia Power. When I go over here and click on the map for Flint Energies, we see we've had some movement over here. It's gotten some red spots over here near Roberta. It's over at 651. It says that right now the current affected people are around 884 people. total outages sitting at 18 right now. When I move over to the right near Warner Robins, Centerville and such, we see that's moved up a little bit near the Bon Air area to 11. Now when I go over here to Tri-County, we also see some red on this map near the Milledgeville area. Now they're still doing pretty good. The red means that they're just under 500 customers affected, which really isn't that bad. Make sure if you do have those power outages, you can call your power company, let them know what's going on. I'm sure they're doing the best they can to get everyone taken care of. Have patience with them. And Frank and Lori, I'm going to send